Imagine running a marathon, but you have no idea how far you've run or how close you are to the finish line. Sounds chaotic, right? This is what operating a nonprofit without impact measurement and evaluation can feel like. Welcome to the world of nonprofits, a landscape filled with passion, purpose, and the pursuit of positive change. But as with any journey, without a roadmap or a compass, it can be easy to lose your way. That's where impact measurement and evaluation come in. Impact measurement and evaluation are the compass and the roadmap in our marathon metaphor. They help nonprofits navigate the often complex and challenging terrain of social change. They're not just tools for navigation, though. They're also tools for reflection, learning, and growth. Let's break it down. Impact measurement and evaluation help nonprofits assess their effectiveness. Are they achieving what they set out to do? Are they making a real difference in the communities they serve? These are critical questions that can only be answered through a systematic process of measurement and evaluation. Moreover, impact measurement and evaluation ensure accountability. Nonprofits have a responsibility to their donors and stakeholders. They're trusted with resources, both human and financial, and are expected to use them wisely. Without a clear understanding of their impact, how can they demonstrate they're living up to this trust? But that's not all. Impact measurement and evaluation also guide future strategy. They provide valuable insights that can help nonprofits refine their approaches, improve their services, and maximize their impact. They transform the marathon into a race with a clearly marked course, where each milestone is an opportunity for celebration and learning. So, in a nutshell, impact measurement and evaluation are not just about keeping score. They're about learning, growing, and continuously improving. They're about running the marathon with purpose, direction, and the assurance that every step is taking us closer to the finish line. So how do nonprofits measure and evaluate their impact? Let's dive into that next. Impact measurement and evaluation isn't just a fancy term. It's a process that involves a series of steps. Let's begin with a journey to understand how nonprofits measure and evaluate their impact. And like any journey, there's a roadmap to guide us. Our roadmap has 4 key steps: defining goals and outcomes, identifying indicators, collecting and analyzing data, and interpreting results. Step 1 is all about defining goals and outcomes. Think of it as setting the destination for our journey. What does success look like? What are we aiming to achieve? These goals and outcomes form the bedrock upon which the rest of our impact measurement and evaluation framework is built. Step 2 is identifying indicators. If our goals and outcomes are the destination, then indicators are the signposts that guide us along the way. They are quantifiable, observable measures that show us how well we're progressing towards our goals. Then we move to step 3, collecting and analyzing data. This is the fuel that powers our journey. We collect data related to our indicators, and then we analyze it. It's through this analysis that we gain insights into our progress. We can see where we're succeeding, where we're falling short, and where we might need to recalibrate. Finally, we arrive at step 4, interpreting results. This is where we reflect on the journey and draw conclusions. We look at the data, consider the indicators, and think about our original goals and outcomes. We ask ourselves, what does this tell us about our impact? What can we learn from this? And perhaps most importantly, how can we improve? Seems like a lot? Don't worry, it will make more sense when we look at a case study. This process might seem complicated at first glance, but it's remarkably intuitive once you start to apply it. And remember, it's not a one-time thing. Impact measurement and evaluation is an ongoing process, a journey of continuous learning and improvement. It's about staying accountable, being effective, and making a difference. So, buckle up and get ready for the ride. Consider Food for All, a fictitious nonprofit that aims to reduce food insecurity in their community. This organization is the embodiment of a mission-driven entity whose purpose is not just to feed the hungry, but to empower communities to overcome food scarcity. Their approach is multifaceted, tackling issues from sustainable farming practices to nutritional education. They're not just providing a fish to feed for a day, but teaching how to fish for a lifetime of self-reliance. Food for All sets quantifiable goals each year. They strive to increase the number of individuals receiving consistent meals, introduce sustainable farming methods to local farmers, and raise awareness about the importance of nutritional diets. They believe in transparency, regularly updating their donors and stakeholders about their progress. Their work is a testament to the potential of nonprofits when they are mission-focused, goal-oriented, and committed to accountability. Now let's see how Food for All measures and evaluates its impact. Food for All starts by defining its goals and outcomes. What does it hope to achieve? This is a critical question that any nonprofit organization needs to ask itself. And Food for All is no exception. At the heart of their mission is the aim to reduce food insecurity. A lofty goal indeed. But how do they plan to achieve this, and how will they measure their progress? Well, the first step is to define clear, tangible outcomes. For Food for All, this means identifying what success looks like. They want to see a decrease in the number of families struggling to put food on the table. So they set specific outcomes. One of these is the number of meals they aim to provide within a given period. Another is the number of families they hope to serve. By defining these outcomes, Food for All has a clear vision of what they are working towards. But more importantly, they have a way to measure their progress. They can monitor how many meals they are providing and how many families they are reaching. This allows them to see if they are moving closer to their goal of reducing food insecurity. But it's not just about setting goals and outcomes, it's also about being realistic. Food for All knows that they can't solve food insecurity overnight, so they set achievable targets. These targets are ambitious, but they are also within reach. This balance is essential. It motivates the team to push harder while also ensuring that they don't set themselves up for failure. And finally, Food for All understands that their goals and outcomes might need to change over time. As they learn more about the problem they are tackling, they might need to adjust their approach. They might need to set new outcomes or redefine their goals. This flexibility is crucial. It allows them to adapt and evolve as they strive to make a difference. Once the goals and outcomes are clear, the next step is to identify indicators. Because without indicators, it's challenging to track progress and measure success. But that's a topic for our next scene. For now, let's take a moment to appreciate the importance of defining clear goals and outcomes. It's the first step towards making a real impact. Food for All needs to identify indicators that will help measure whether it's achieving its goals. This is where the rubber meets the road in impact measurement. First, let's understand what indicators are. Think of them as yardsticks, tools we use to measure progress towards our goals. For Food for All, this might be something like the number of meals served or surveys of families served. Now, selecting indicators is not as simple as picking out your favorite color. It's a methodical process that requires careful thought and consideration. Food for All needs indicators that are relevant to its mission and goals. Indicators that will tell them if they're on the right path, if they're making a dent in the problem they're trying to solve. For instance, Food for All could choose the number of meals served as an indicator. This number gives a clear, tangible measure of how much food they're providing to those in need. It's a direct reflection of their primary goal, to feed the hungry. But there's more to it than just numbers. Food for All also needs to know if the meals they're providing are making a difference in the lives of the families they serve. Are they helping to alleviate hunger in their community? Are they improving the health and well-being of these families? This is where surveys come in. Surveys can provide invaluable qualitative data. They can paint a picture of the impact Food for All is having beyond just the number of meals served. They can tell stories of change and improvement, stories that numbers alone cannot convey. In choosing indicators, Food for All has to strike a balance. They need both quantitative and qualitative indicators to fully understand their impact. The number of meals served gives them hard data. Surveys give them the human side of the story. Together, these indicators provide a comprehensive view of their progress towards their goals. With indicators in place, it's time to collect and analyze data. The next step in the journey of impact measurement and evaluation. Stay tuned. Food for All now embarks on the task of collecting and analyzing data. The organization takes a two-pronged approach to data collection. First, they maintain meticulous meal records, documenting each meal they distribute. This raw data provides a concrete overview of the tangible, immediate impact of their work. Every meal delivered represents a person fed, a basic need met, and a step towards their goal of eradicating hunger. In addition to meal records, Food for All also relies on surveys to gather qualitative data. They distribute these surveys to the individuals and communities they serve. These surveys are designed to capture the lived experiences of their beneficiaries, beyond the simple fact of having received a meal. Questions might touch on the beneficiaries' overall health and well-being, their sense of food security, and their satisfaction with the meals provided. This data helps Food for All understand the broader, more nuanced impact of their work. Once collected, this data doesn't just sit on a shelf, It's analyzed, pored over, and used to make informed decisions about the organization's future directions. The analysis begins with a simple tallying of meals delivered. However, it quickly evolves into something more sophisticated. The team looks for patterns and trends in the data, such as the number of meals delivered over time, the geographic distribution of meals, and the correlation between meals delivered and survey responses. The survey data is analyzed separately, with responses grouped and categorized to identify common themes and recurring issues. For instance, if a significant number of respondents indicate that they're still experiencing food insecurity despite receiving meals, this is a red flag that prompts further investigation. The data analysis doesn't stop at identifying problems, though. It's also used to highlight successes and areas of strength. If a particular community reports high levels of satisfaction with the meals and improved food security, that's a sign that Food for All is making a real difference in that area. Through this rigorous data collection and analysis process, Food for All ensures that their impact is not just assumed, but proven with hard evidence. And with this evidence, they can continue to improve and expand their vital work. The final step is interpreting the results. Now, Food for All needs to interpret its results. Has it been successful in reducing food insecurity? Interpreting results is a critical stage in the impact measurement and evaluation process. It's the moment of truth, the point where Food for All gets to assess whether its efforts are making a real difference. To do this, Food for All compares its collected data against the indicators it had identified earlier. Remember, these indicators were chosen because they directly linked to the organization's goals and outcomes of reducing food insecurity. By analyzing the data, Food for All can see whether it's meeting its targets. For instance, if one of the indicators was the number of meals distributed in a community and the goal was to distribute 10,000 meals in a year, comparing the actual number of meals distributed against this target will provide a clear picture of the organization's impact. But what happens if Food for All doesn't meet its targets? Does it mean the organization has failed? Absolutely not. Remember, impact measurement and evaluation is not just about proving success, but also about improving effectiveness. If the targets are not met, it provides valuable information to Food for All about areas that need improvement. The organization can then use this information to guide future strategy. Maybe it needs to allocate more resources to certain areas, or perhaps it needs to revise its approach. The key is to learn from the results and use them to make informed decisions moving forward. And it's not just about numbers. Food for All also considers qualitative data, such as feedback from the communities it serves. This information is invaluable in understanding the nuances of the impact and the lived experiences of those benefiting from the organization's work. In conclusion, interpreting results is a dynamic process that doesn't end with a simple yes or no answer to the question of success. It's about understanding the different dimensions of impact and using that understanding to drive continuous improvement and greater effectiveness. And that's how Food for All measures and evaluates its impact. But what have we learned from all of this? Impact measurement and evaluation is a critical tool for nonprofits. But what are the key takeaways from our discussion? Firstly, we've learned that impact measurement and evaluation is of paramount importance for nonprofits. It's not just a box-ticking exercise, but rather a robust process that helps organizations to gauge their effectiveness, ensure accountability, and make informed decisions. It's about asking the right questions, setting the right goals, and making sure that your organization is truly making a difference. Next, we've delved into the intricate steps involved in this process. We've seen that it begins with defining clear and measurable goals and outcomes. This step is crucial, as it sets the direction for the rest of the process. It's about knowing what you want to achieve and how you'll know when you've achieved it. Following this, we've discussed the importance of identifying indicators. These are the signposts that guide us along the way, helping us to track progress and measure success. They need to be relevant, realistic, and directly linked to the goals and outcomes. Afterwards, we've explored the process of collecting and analyzing data. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about gathering the right information at the right time and in the right way. It's also about making sense of this data, looking for patterns, trends, and insights that can inform our understanding of our impact. Finally, we've used a case study to bring these concepts to life. Through this, we've seen how these steps are not just theoretical constructs, but practical tools that can be used to drive real change in the real world. In summary, impact measurement and evaluation is a multifaceted process that requires careful planning, diligent execution, and thoughtful interpretation. It's a journey that can be challenging, but also tremendously rewarding. Remember, impact measurement and evaluation isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding your nonprofit's journey and making sure you're on the right track.